Hello, everybody. This is Salil Tripathi from the Institute for Human Rights and Business, and I'm in Norway in the city of Bergen with Abduweli Ayup, who is a writer. He writes in Uygher, but he's also a linguist. And among the other languages he knows are Chinese and Turkish, and of course, English. We are here today to talk about the impact of facial recognition on people in the Xinjiang region in Western China, and he's going to talk to us about the situation on the ground. Wonderful to meet with you, Abduweli. I wanted to know about exactly the situation right now in the region where the Uyghurs live. If you can tell a bit of the historical background and what has technology, particularly facial recognition, done in that area?
Thank you for having me today. Facial recognition is the thing that in northwest part of China, Xinjiang is the largest region in China, and we have checkpoints, cities every 200 meters, and in like a countryside 500 meters, and every checkpoint has facial recognition equipment.
What kind of equipment is it?
It's a big equipment. Take a picture of your first. This is a screen, just like a computer screen. And then your facial recognition at that point to analyze and the match with your ID card. If your face match with ID card, it's the one step you finish. The second step is from your facial mimics, and the machine can analyze that. Do you want to attack somebody and or not?
But how do they make that? Because this is obviously guesswork, isn't it?
Just guess. Because of like, if you are very angry, like your eyesight and your eyelids and your features will change. Depend on this mimics, this change, the machine can analyze what type of person you are. For example, that they have three types. One is green, it's safe. Another is yellow, it's normal. The third one is red, it means that you are dangerous. For example, that if a machine analyze your facial like movement, danger, they will signal. And then you have to go to another room, interrogation room. The police ask you something, and then if they think you are going to attack somebody or like you are going to take some action against something like that, they send you to a re-education camp, or if they think it's dangerous, they put you in a jail, something like that.
Now, when this photo is taken, how quickly is this decision made? Is it instant or does it take time?
That like red, green, and blue light, the instant.
So they would look at your picture and immediately tell you that you are red, yellow, or green. And then after that, accordingly, they will send you to the next room.
Yeah.
Now, what happens in the next room? How quickly are decisions made there?
In the next room, they ask you some questions. For example, that the common question is, do you know someone who already arrested? For example, if my father arrested, and if I'm his son, and it's the first feature that you are in danger, you are red. Another thing that if you have a relative in Turkey, like they have 26 sensitive countries. The first one is Turkey and Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran, and
basically
those
Islamic countries.
Islamic countries.
Right.
If you have relatives in those countries, this is another reason let you go to the detention center, something like that. And if you have a criminal background, for example, that any reason,
it could be a car offense, driving offense, anything, right?
Yeah. Another thing that if you had been to like those 26 Islamic countries, so they will ask these, have you been there, and do you have relatives, and do you have friends there, and then if you have one of them, and send you to re-education camp.
Now, the whole entire process, how long does it take? Suppose I go there, is it within half an hour, 1 hour?
No, just a few minutes.
And do you have access to a lawyer? Can you consult anybody? Do you have any support at that time? No. You're entirely on your own?
No, just your own.
And when you're sent to the camp, is there a trial after that, or are you just in the camp for a long period after that?
Re-education camp, there is no trial. There's no time limit. How long you will stay, you don't know. But China, we have a detention center, re-education camp, and the jail. Detention center is different. If they send you to detention center, they will convict you. But if you send to re-education camp, endless. And if they think that you are already danger, there is a persecution, and the court exists in detention center. They have a room in detention center. You don't need to go anywhere. Just you need to go prosecution first, and then you go to court office there, and you go to jail. It's a very quick process.
And the jail terms are how long typically?
It depends on, they think if you are like political prisoner, it will longer. If you are like just
Petty thief, for example.
yeah, something.
You had an experience of this kind. So what happened? Tell us your story.
It's 2013, about 19th August. At the time, I had my kindergarten. I decided to keep my language alive through open kindergarten because it's legal, it's constitutional in China. We can use our mother language in kindergarten. This is okay. So I want to use this space and to preserve my mother language. But the problem is the Chinese government see it as a separatism because, you know, in 1970s, Bangladesh become independent country because
Yes.
of the mother language movement. And they think that my mother language activity, my mother language campaign as a separatist activity. And that's why after they arrested me, the first interrogation, this that you are not a language activist, you are a separatist.
This was in Urumqi?
I was arrested in Kashgar. First interrogation is in Kashgar, and they decided to send me to Urumqi because they think maybe I'm like more dangerous because Urumqi is the capital and Kashgar is like the remote
Yes.
city.
You were running the kindergarten and they arrested you. And at that time, there was no facial recognition involved.
At the time, no. At the time, we don't have a facial recognition. But in 2014, November, I was released. At that time, I saw that facial recognition.
And then how did it happen that they took your picture? What happened at that time?
When I was arrested in Kashgar, I haven't seen that facial recognition. But when I went to Urumqi, I have seen that. They asked me to close equipment, and there's a computer screen, and the computer take a picture of you. And then there's the three light, green and red and yellow. And then they have your fingerprints and toe prints and iris and your like saliva and your blood and your pee. Check all of this. And at that time, I saw this facial recognition. It's for me at that time. I don't know it's facial recognition because I have never seen this. I have never heard about it. But in 2014 November, I know that they are using this to decide what kind of person do you.
So how often do these pictures get taken? I mean, does it happen every day that people are stopped, or is it like
No,
Is it random? How does it happen?
The first of all, in 2013, they just take a picture, use that facial recognition in like at the time they are testing because they just used once. But really, after I have released it, I seen that they are using a lot. But at that time, like most of us, we don't know what are they doing with this photography. I learned this after I came to Turkey.
So how did you get to Turkey? When did that happen?
I came to Turkey in 2015, end of August, and at that time, because of my criminal so-called background, and I don't have a place to live. In Kashgar, I wasn't welcomed because of my criminal background, and I couldn't live in Urumqi because of my like separatist something background, and that's why I decided to leave.
Were you able to leave legally, or did you escape?
There's something happened there, like some coincidence, because I worked at Chinese University in Lenzhou, and at that time, two Abduweli at the same time we worked there. And when customs officer asked me, who are you? I show my ID card. They know what happened to me. And they asked me, have you opened this kindergarten in Lenzhou? And I said, yes. At that time, they called the police in Lenzhou. Because police in Lenzhou don't know because they didn't arrested me. They don't know anything about me. They
Right.
only know that I'm Uygher, I am a teacher. And my friend with the same name with me, he's still working there. I think he did misunderstand. He said like maybe that police is talking about him because he also from Uygher, he also from Urumqi, and they thought that maybe that person, and they let me go, and I feel happy but still afraid.
Yeah.
And then after I came, I realized that they made mistakes because after I came to Turkey, they went to my parents' home and asked about where is your kid.
I mean, do you have family? Were you able to leave with the family, or are they still inside?
No, my family and me, we don't have the same residence permit. And their residence permit is in Urumqi. My residence permit is in Lanzhou, in Chinese city. Yeah.
And once you were in Turkey, after that you became an icon writer, is it?
Yes, after I came to Turkey, like Chinese government canceled my passport, and so I became stateless, and I applied ICORN in 2016.
Right, this is the International Cities of Refuge Network. And then they placed you here in Bergen.
Yeah.
And now, when you look back at that entire experience and what facial recognition does in China, is this entirely run by Chinese companies or are there foreign companies involved in this?
Actually, I interviewed several people. My friend told me that it is a software people use in Finland. The bank first used this system to evaluate their customers.
In Finland?
Like they just want the background, they just want this person reliable or not, and can we give loan to him or not, something like that. But after Chinese government bought the system, they use it different way. It's not only Chinese company. There's some international company, for example, that the Hikvision. I know Hikvision very well, Haikang in Chinese. And at that time, Hikvision is an international company. And that company even trained some IT engineer from China. The amount of one of my friend, he told me that he stayed there about 15 months and he was trained there. It's a big data. Collect all of your information, like your blood type and
the full biological profile, yeah.
And another thing that not only that, your relatives, even that how many praying pets do you have, what kind of book do you read, and what kind of friend do you have, and have you been to abroad or not, everything about your information. One thing is important, that if you have a friend who stayed in Western countries or in overseas, and when you receive the phone call, you will send to re-education camp because they already know you have friend there abroad. And for example, if you like history, and when you are searching internet, you search about Uyghur history, that system sent you to re-education camp because they already know
that you're interested in the past. So what are the things you would want companies to do? To not invest in this technology, to not be present in China, not sell the technology? Or is it that the Chinese already have the technology and there's not much that can be done now?
I think we cannot say that don't invest to China. It's business, everybody can do it. But the problem is we need to consider the consequences. For example, there is a gold mine in China. You can invite gold mine, but the problem is you need to consider the people. For example, that if you have that gold mine and after that the air pollution and like water pollution, something like will happen, and you will consider this, you will take this important, because if we don't do this, we cannot do business for longer because people will hate you and will like destroy your equipment.
So you need local approval and you need the local community support, which these businesses don't have.
Yeah.
Right.
Another thing that you need to, like, for example, this is kind of mining, something like that. If we invest in technological companies, we need to say very clearly, this is the technology we use specific this area, and beyond this you cannot use.
Right.
For example, that we are not going to cooperate with the police, we are not going to cooperate with the security system, we are not going to cooperate with the government specific institute. We just cooperate with the, like, a business area.
Business to business, yeah. And what do you expect from the international community now in this regard? Because this technology is there. China has a social credit system, it has a surveillance mechanism, it has a green dam for the internet. Is this something that can be reversed, or is this a lost cause now?
Lost cause, I think, because we are losing. Actually, just I mentioned that the system is Finland oriented, but at that time maybe Finland, they don't know the Chinese government using this to common people. It's originated to specific customers, but now they are using the people in China. So I want the international community that when you invest China, you need to consider that there is a communist party there, and they will not always use technology as you expected. They do something else. So we need to take care of it when you invest the Chinese company or when you invest in China, and you have to consider, because of human rights issue, don't help China to do evil things because of you. Another thing that, yes, you can do business with China, but the problem is you need to tell China that this is wrong. For example, we have an international company in Xinjiang, it's Carrefour. Carrefour, I heard in Urumqi, 25% of their employees are Uyghur. And now they need to say that where are our employees? For example, about 3 million Uyghur arrested. And I think it must be their employees included. And you need to say, because you already hired them, so you need to take this responsibility. Where are they? And the third thing that, yes, we can do business with China. But the problem is, if this surveillance technology exists, it will make people psychologically abnormal. If you use this kind of psychologically abnormal people, what will happen to you? Yes, you can do business with China, but you need to have a healthy employer. You need to have a healthy environment. If people very afraid, if people cannot concentrate to your work, how can they work for you? Because business needs freedom, free to move, free to speak, free to communicate. If China doing this surveillance system, how can you do business with them? So you need to say this, yes, we can do business with you, but the problem is we need people are free. For example, Uyghur cannot move from city to city, from countryside to countryside. You need to say that we want Uyghur employees, but we need to have their freedom. And my last word is, I want international company work with China, but the condition is take care of Uyghur who are working for you. I don't want you consider 11 million Uyghur. At least you consider the worker, the employer who are working for you.
Thank you very much and wish you all the very best indeed.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.